Welcome back to a very basic space program, and we are in the mission control with Gene. And Gene has said that we have a number of missions, and we're gonna take one. We're gonna take this, reach suborbital trajectory and return. We're gonna definitely have that. I also am gonna take this because we have to get to an altitude of 150 kilometers with this payload. If we can get into suborbital, then we're going to be at that altitude, so we're going to try that as well, and it gives us a little bit of funds to help us towards that. So if you're interested on that, and also I'm going to do some stuff with some science moving around, I'll show you in a second. If you're interested, please join me. Last time I actually think I mentioned about the science and how you can allocate in things. We're actually going to do something here. We're going to cancel our supersonic program. We're going to cancel that, you see that? So we've now got rid of that, and we've got some of the science back. We've got 3 science back, and we're going to have an actual look at what we've got. We've got post-war rocketry testing. I'm actually going to cancel all of this because we haven't started working on it yet. We can actually cancel it and get rid of it. So let's go back into here, and I've been having a think about what I want to do. I definitely want to get early rocket as well, because I actually want to, I've decided one of the things you can do is you can decide to go American, you can go Russian, you can go a combination of them all. I always tend to do a mix. However, I never really push myself particularly to the American engines at the start, and then I sometimes switch them, but I'm going to force myself not to go Russian. I normally go like RD-100, RD-101, 102, 103. I'm actually going to stop myself from using them this time. I'm going to try and go for these ones. Now, I'm not limiting myself to American engines. I'm just going to try and use these ones for once. So I'm going to go down this route here. I'm also going to try and use solids a bit more because they've been updated a bit in the most recent sort of update. So solids become a bit more interesting, and we can get these ones here, which have got casters, which might be useful for as low as 5 points and only requiring early materials science. So we don't even have to get into satellite era materials science, which I would like because of integral tanks. But so what we're going to do is we've now got 8 points to spend. We've got this one that's partway researched. I also want to get some avionics. I want to get these materials as well. I probably want to get up to here because this gives me aluminium tanks. This here gives me aluminium tanks for other stuff. That's interesting. Separate structure, use aluminium strings. Okay, so I think I want to go here and I want to start on solids. I'm going to ignore the crude stuff first. I think our crew may retire if I don't do any work with it, but what happens happens. We also want to get avionics underway, but my key is these engines because I want to get reliability into them. So we're going to put points into there straight away. We're going to do as much as we can to get moving. So I've got 5 points spare there. I'm going to save that until I can actually get this next node, which will then give me access to this. So with that in mind, what are we actually going to do? Well, we've got a mission to go up. We could use our Aerobee, but we're going to build another vehicle. Okay, and this time it's actually going to be controllable. We're going to control it. So what we're going to do, we're going to use basically the engines that we have access to. We're going to use an A4 engine to start with. We could use an RD-100. I'm not going to use an RD-100 because I've just said. So we're going to need an avionics core. There we go. Now avionics has changed in the latest RP-1 version, so avionics does not stack anymore. So I know, for example, that my maximum load is 20 tons on this pad. I could actually just set this to 20 tons now. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to set it to 20 tons. I can reduce it later. Put 100 units of electricity in it, and it tells me that this is going to last for 4 minutes. It's not very long, but it should be long enough. So we'll close that. Alright, so there's my core. Now, interestingly, I actually don't want those dimensions. I'm going to make this a little fat compared to what we've done. I'm going to go 1 meter, 75 centimeters. There we go. Or 1,750 millimeters if you are that way inclined, or 1.75 meters. And I'm going to have to redo all this, so take that down to, let's say 0. I don't need extra storage on it. I want 100 units. I'm going to apply that, shrinks it down. Wonderful. Now, I also want, we want some sounding rocket payload. Now, can I put sounding rocket payload in here? I can't remember if you used to be able to do this or not. There used to, and this is me going back years, you can, right, so we can put that in there. Wonderful. So I can close, I can make this the same. We'll go 175. There we go. And that's going to give me a vast amount of sounding payload, isn't it? We're actually going to put this underneath there. So how much do I need? I think I needed one. How much was it? Where are we? 100 and something. Where are we? Crude altitude. That's okay. That's okay. So 110. That is far more than I need on this, isn't it? Yes. So we can reduce that right down. Let's make that, oh, I don't know, 200. Does that make 200 centimeters to it? That, are you serious? That's how much sounding payload I can get in there? Wow. Let's have a look. Remove all tanks. It might be a glitch, but well, let's have a look. Sounding payload. Okay, that's more like it. But we only need, so we can go to 360, but we only need 110. We'll go 115 just for safety's sake. So that's that. That's done. So now we've just got to get this up somewhere. So next thing, stick a tank on there, and again we're going to go with diameter 175. I'm choosing, well, I should say I'm choosing 175 because it's not perfect for the engine that we're going to use. We're going to use the A4. You'll see the A4 is slightly smaller, but it scales. So later on, I think my engines will be better off on this as a basic sort of stack. It gives me, particularly when we start having more fuel, it gives me a more sensible sized engine. This is going to be a bit of a short one, I think, but we will see. So what we're also going to do is, just to help that, we're going to put, and this is not a brilliant design philosophy, but we're going to actually put a slight cone on the bottom of it, just to so that it doesn't look, you know, it's not the most efficient, I know, we're going for looks. I could put a boat tail on it, which I normally would do, but I'm not going to do that. And we're going to bring this out here, make that look not too bad. How's that look? That doesn't look too bad, does it? No, it looks okay. And then we're going to change that so it's plain. So there we are. What we can do is we can now put our fuel into there. We've got that onto there, that onto there, and you can see already after 17 seconds we've got loads of delta V. This thing is going to take a long time to build though, and that's going to be the problem, but we're going to do 2 contracts at once. That's not a major issue. Now this engine, I only have one sort I can get, the A4. It burns for 70 seconds is its maximum sort of burn time, so we're actually going to go for 70 seconds. And we're going to get that off there. Get off, thank you. We're going to go 70 seconds. So we've got 17 seconds. Let's keep cranking it up. That's too far, is it? No, we've got a bit more. So we can go up a bit more. There we go. That's a little bit over, but that's fine. So that's going to be our vehicle. Very sort of short and fat. Not the optimal size that you'd want. Now, this is where we need to get a bit clever. First of all, we're going to change the end of that, because I hate those ends. I hate those ends. So where's my little thing for that? There we go. We're going to put on top of that a fairing. So where are we? We're going to look for a fairing. The correct one would be nice. So we got a fairing base. We got this one here is perfect. There we go. We're going to put that on there, and we're going to resize that down to our chosen size. There we go. Too far. That's it. Now at this point we're going to make this taller, because we're going to put something in there, and we're going to choose how tall we want it. So we're going to pull this up, and we're actually going to make it what? Let's make it 175 as well, because that's the number that we're going for. Oh, we go. There we go. Right. Now, why have I got this bit on the top? Well, we're going to put a parachute on there. We've got our sounding payload there. We don't need to return the sounding payload. We just need to get it up there. But we want to return some stuff. We want to get some stuff into space and return it. We already have a science core that we could just stick on there. So let's do that. Let's actually do that. How do we do that? Well, there's a few ways of doing it, but the easiest way is for us to take another tank, stick it like so, and then reroute our parts. There we go. Now we've got this section as a completely routed part, and what we can do is, if we go over here and sub-assembly, I can take this section and create a sub-assembly, and we're going to call this the Javelin. 1. Okay, Javelin 1A. Javelin 1A, there we go. Sorted. Now what we're going to do with the Javelin, this we don't care about anymore. We're going to, don't save that, we're going to load up our atlatl, there we go. Now we know the atlatl, not that one, the first one, has a parachute that's set up for it. It also has a science core that we know works. So, get rid of everything else, grab our science core, don't need to redo anything with it, we're going to reuse this tech. What else can we stick on this is the question. Right, let's have a look. Have we got any other science equipment? What science equipment did we have on this to start with? We didn't. So let's get some science equipment on it. We're going to get barometer. We're going to get thermometer. Wonderful. Those are on already. So we can start those. And remember, you've got to start them. So we're going to start them and they're waiting to go. We could put a biological capsule on it. Barometer, biological capsule. Let's put a biological capsule on it. There we go. Wonderful. We're going to start that, but we're going to trigger that with a action group that I think is going to be number 1. In fact, you know what? 5. We're going to trigger that with start biological sample like that. And we'll probably do that when we're in the upper atmosphere. I think we'll do that in the upper atmosphere. In fact, let's not do it as 5 because that ends up being crazy. Let's do that as 10. So start biological, so it's going to be 0 on the keyboard. So there we go, we've got our little compartment now. We know this is going to come down okay, these parachutes are fine for it. Check our longevity, we've got 16 minutes. If the flight lasts more than 16 minutes, we've probably got a problem. So that's the atlatl there, but we're going to rename that to the Javelin. And it's going to be the 1A dash 1. What are we going to call it? J001. There we go. J001. That is our flight for the Javelin. There we go. That's easy to remember. Do that. Then we can go back over here to our subassembly, pull out the Javelin, stick it on it. Stick it on there. There we go. There we are. Sorted. A little bit too big, but we can work with that. How big a payload do we want on this thing? Well, we don't really want to redo our fairings all the time, so I'd like a standard fairing size. How big is this camera? That will fit in there fine, so that's an okay size. We're going to be carrying heavier fairings than we need to, but it means we don't have to retool them all the time. So we'll set that as it is. That there. Now we're going to find some fairing pieces, and we're going to attach them. Where are we? There we go. We'll go for these ones. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some tidying up off camera, and then we'll get on with launching this thing. So, see you in a minute. Right, so you may notice I have changed the craft a little bit. I've painted the tank, so we've got some stripes on it so we can tell if it's spinning or not, but I couldn't help myself. I just like not having engines just so horribly in display there, so we've put a boat tail on. It's not going to do much good for it, and also just because I am really aware of this, and if we bring this up, I'm actually very aware of the fact this is a fat short rocket, and I'm concerned about stability. So I had a look at this, and without these fins on, this dynamic drag lift thing is up here somewhere. And also, if you look at Fairham, you've got all sorts of drag at the end here, and only about the same amount here. And so, particularly when we get up to, I think probably it would be Mach 1, Mach 2, well, Mach 1, that transition point, this is required, I think, to stop it from flipping out. We do have gimbal on this engine, but not great gimbal. So I've made those changes. What does that mean? Well, it means the price has gone up a bit, and we need to think about tooling. Tooling is going to mean that it's going to take 200 days to build. We do have some money in the bank though, so we're going to tool this, right? That's going to cost us 21,000, but again, we're going to use this tank and diameters and everything. All this is going to be reusable, so this isn't a big problem. We're going to purchase that. That's a big chunk. We're then going to build it. So we're going to save it, and then we're going to build it. We're going to build 2 of them. So we're going to unlock those parts. We're going to build 2 of them just in case. And then I'm going to spend some of these parts actually on speeding this build up. So let's go do that. Right, so we're going to go to upgrades and we're going to purchase ourselves, what, two of these? Two of these. That's going to take us quite low on funds. We're going to put both of these. Do I want to put both in there? What's that doing to my time? Let's actually, let's close that and have a look. Tech-wise, I've got 80 days. That's going to be finished before the vessel is done. Right. We don't need the atlatl. That's done, so we can actually scrap that. So we can scrap the atlatl. Okay. Ooh, almost took us to another token, actually thinking about it, but we will need money for rolling out, remember that. So, and it's going to take 175 days. I think, what's that upgrade? What would that do to the R&D? It would give it a bit of a push, but not much. So I think we're going to go for, we're going to put another point in there. And that's going to take us down to 157 days. That's nice. Now we could rush this. We could do a little bit of a rush build for 1,000. It's going to take 10% off. That's going to save us 15 days. Could do it a couple of times and save us 30 days. And it's only going to cost us 3,000. I don't normally rush build, but that is a long time, and I want to get moving. So do we do that? No, we're not going to. We're going to spend half a year building this rocket. If it fails, then we do the next one. Okay. What we're going to do is actually rename this one so that I don't get the two mixed up. I'm going to call this J002. All right. So there we go. That is ready. I guess it's now time to time warp, and we're going to get this this rocketry node while we're at it, and get some on to the next one as well. We could actually, if we throw that in, will that give us? We'll be almost done. We'll be halfway through. Let's get that thrown in there because we're not going to finish this before the next launch. So yeah, right. Time warping has finished. It is now time to roll out. And yeah, it is moving on through. We're in what, October? I suppose we should launch this. Let's, this is very important to us. We're very low on funds. Let's launch this thing. Right, so we need to remember our aim is we've got to get to 150 and we've got to come back down. So we've got to get this payload to 150, but the main task is getting our payload there back down. Now, check staging. Engine's going to go first, then we're going to decouple. That gives it time to spool up. We want to separate these because I think we want the fairings gone there. We need to remember that 5 activates our parachute and 0 activates that biocanister. We want the biocanister to activate when we get over, I think it's 50. But we can check, I suppose. Can I? Fairing? No, I can't. Let's see if I can get in the gap there. No, that's not it. Parachute. Below the parachute. That there. Right, no, that's the avionics. Below that. There we go. Right, we're going to pop that there. Actually no, we don't, because we're not going to do it. So at 50 as we've crossed 50, we'll activate it, because I think that's the height. I think it used to be higher, but I think it's now 50. If it's 40, I'm going to feel silly. Right, we've got contracts complete. How is that even possible? Glitchy. Or maybe that's from our previous launch. I haven't got rid of them. Right, so it's guided, so we can use SAS. We can put our engine onto full. Let's get this going. Engine's going. Waiting for the flame. There we go. Now fire it. Oh, we got a little wiggle there. So obviously these fins are interacting with that launch pad a little bit. That's taking a little bit of energy off us. Now, we're going to have quite a lot of drag off these. Also, when we cut the engine, if we're not high enough, we're going to have a lot of drag pulling us back down. So we need to be aware of that. That's going to be a problem. I think we want to probably go to about 160 kilometers before we cut engines. I don't really want to go too much higher because we have to come back down, and I don't want to carry too much speed, otherwise we will burn up, because we do not have a heat shield and we're going directly up. I do not think this craft with that drag has the ability to go and start to go sideways. I don't think it will make the target that we have doing that. We could lighten it, we could redesign it for that, but that's not what the task of this craft is right now. So we're going to get ready to cut the engines at about 160. Oh, this is going to be tight, isn't it? Oh, and yeah, cut it. Oh, I think that's too late. I think we're going too high. So what we'll actually do is we'll decouple the fairings, which should make it act a bit. Oh, now that is interesting. We've really slowed that down nicely by doing that. I was not expecting that. We've got some odd situation where that has interacted with. So those fairings must be quite heavy. Maybe I forgot to lighten the fairings, I think. Ah, right. Anyway, we're past our thing, and I haven't activated our science at all, so that's a problem. All right, let us get a look at this science as it spins around. Grab that. What are we doing? It is running. That is good. We've got some telemetry from the high altitude that we are at. We've got science collecting. That takes 20 minutes to get biosamples. Now the question I have is, will it be able to continue getting that when it's in space? Because we're going to spend a little bit of time in space. We're actually going very high. I'm a little concerned about this. What we will do though is, once we get up there, let's have a look. Do I want to decouple now? That's a question, isn't it? Can I lock you? Yeah, if I just lock you, and we can actually save you prior to our decoupling, and we'll decouple at high altitude, I think. Yeah. So we've got all the telemetry is done. We've got pressure scanning still going on. It's going to take time. Temperature scanning is going to take time. Not going to get much science out of that though. And now we're about to enter into space. It's our first trip into space, technically, although we went over the Kármán line. Now, we've got to get to 150 to complete that task. You can see we're getting a lot of contracts complete. Now, let's clear those out in a bit. We're just saving our battery on this because we have battery on this avionics here. We might as well use it. It's a bit cheaty actually doing this, but you know, I'm sure you could switch batteries on and off in those days, in 1950s. I'm sure that technology existed. Right, we're coming up to Apoaps now, so I think what we're going to do is, before I'm going to decouple at Apoaps, I think, is what we're going to aim to do. So we're ready. Almost. We're going to be, this is a lot higher than I hoped. I hoped we were just going to hit about 150 meters, sorry, 150 kilometers, and then come back down. But this is a little higher. So we activate that. Decouple. Right, our avionics are off now because we've got this this science core. The rest of the craft is going to just drift down beside us. I do not need it to be near us. It should actually go away from us because of the fact that we've got a little bit of force on that, so that's good. You can see the engine in the shroud there. Looks quite nice, doesn't it? We're going to activate the parachute. Right, time to come down. So we're going to enter into the atmosphere. We're going to start getting atmosphere now. Okay, what's going on with the atmosphere? Atmosphere gone crazy. Okay, right, here we go. Oh, that's a lovely shot, isn't it? Got a little bit glitch before that. So that's good. We can actually see the booster coming down with us. We can actually speed this up a little bit. So it's coming down. Lovely view, isn't it? Now I think this is going to keep going. This is going to get faster because it's quite heavy. It's quite heavy and it's dense. Well, it's not so much heavy. It's dense. It's got very limited drag, although it does have a flat end on it. So I don't know. I think we are the less dense body, although we're primarily a battery and a parachute, and those are quite tightly packed, so it'd be interesting to see. I think that will probably burn up. I think that's going to, it's particularly the fins are going to explode from this altitude. The heat on them is going to be significant. Right, let us go back to normal speed. Right, oh, we're actually falling quicker than the booster. This is concerning. I was expecting that we would start to slow down first. Oh dear, that's not a good sign. And we're going parachute first. I should have put the oh, ow. Yeah, that's the I think that's probably the fins exploding. I should have put the avionics on the other side of the biosample instead of just sticking the biosample underneath, or I should have put the biosample on top of the parachute, I think. Right, has this actually got, right, this is now invalid. Okay, so that's not a problem. We are a killer. That's still, that's staggering. How is that? Oh, now we've slowed right down. I actually didn't notice. We slowed right down there. We're coming down on the cape. Okay. What's this? Is this gonna now? Ooh, this is right above us. This is right above our parachutes. This is right. I think we're going to be okay as long as none of that hits us, and it could actually hit us, which would be embarrassing. Right. When's this parachute supposed to trigger? I can't remember. Is it about? It's about 5. Is it 5 kilometers up? Battery life's going. Do the parachutes still trigger? No, we've got loads of battery. Oh, it's that one's battery life that's probably dying. We've got loads of battery life left. We're fine. Unless we're transmitting. Are we transmitting science? We probably are transmitting science actually, which is not needed because we're going to be recovered. Those things are still right above us. Are we going at 5? We're not going at 5. Did I have it as 3? Please tell me it's going to trigger at some point. We're going through the clouds. The ground is coming closely right now. And we can't see anything above it. Okay, that's lovely, isn't it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Parachutes are gone. Parachutes are gone. Right. These things are going to start... Right, we're slowing down. They're going to start catching up. The question is, do we land before they hit us? Is the thing. So here we go. That's coming down. That's going down slowly. Probably would have been easier to actually bring the whole thing down, wouldn't it? All right, parachutes are open. What speed are we doing? We're down to 4. That's good. That's landable. We may lose the biological capsule, though. Actually thinking about it, that might be too much for it. I don't know. I always aim for about 7 for this sort of thing, but it may end up being a crumple zone. But that doesn't matter because it wasn't the mission to bring a biological capsule. Now let's check. Have we completed our missions? We have completed that one. This is the one. So we just need to return home. That's all we're looking for right now. Right. Okay. Where are those other things? Because if they hit us and blow something up, that would be so embarrassing. Right. We're coming down slowly. Let's speed this up. Can we see anything coming down? Oh, stuff's going down. There we go. We got, what's that? Javelin. Javelin has landed over there. Oh, so they did pass us. As soon as we sped time up, they were continuing on their speed. Okay. So that is probably one of the least safe ways you can do things, is flying straight up, because yeah, people die that way, obviously. Not the ideal way to do it. You should always bank, but I was debating whether this booster was going to have range enough for that, and I think I was quite right, actually. I think we could have had a little bit of an incline in our launch, but I think it would have been tough. I think it would have been difficult for that craft to still make a good orbit. Would have made return easier though, because we would have had a little bit longer in the higher atmosphere just to slow down. So next steps into the upper atmosphere, we will probably have to have a up-rated booster for that. Right, we're coming down and we're okay. Oof, survived. Right, recover that, and I guess we will see what's happening. So normal recovery. Right, so we have got a big chunk of science from that mission. Primarily, and I forgot about this, you get recovery of a suborbital flight. So we get 8 science for that, which is almost enough science to give us a new upgrade point, which we will have got because we also got a couple of points for biological sample Earth space low, and a couple of points for biological sample Earth flying high. We could actually just keep doing this. We've got a lot of science to get out of those. We've obviously filled up some of our other telemetry on the way, which means that in total we're up at 23 science, which is brilliant. That's superb. So what else have we got? We've got some stuff brought back. We've got an upgrade point, which I am debating what to do with. We'll see what happens next time, and we're going to see what science I spend next time. We do have a booster here that we could potentially... Can we recover that? Yeah, we'll have that. We'll have some money from that. No, we don't get any money from that. Anyway. So, next time, we're going to have a look at some more missions, see what we can do. What's the next step? We're going to look at that, I think at some point, that 3,000 meter downrange contract. So, from me, until next time, have a great one.